Hi, I'm Dr. Eddie Ramirez, and I'm a testimony of what Amen can inspire students to do. My first Amen conference was the third Amen conference that occurred, and I was one of those students that have been benefiting from that scholarship that Amen does. And by listening to the testimonies and seeing what the Lord is doing with other physicians, inspire me to use that inspiration to create change in where I was working. So I finished medical school. In my medical school, a requirement was that I needed to do 1 year of service to the government. When I saw the list, because I had graduated in the first place in my class, I was going to be the first one to select from the multiple places that I could potentially do that service. At the beginning, actually, was disturbed by the fact that I needed to move. I needed to go somewhere else. The setup where I was, it was fantastic. The Lord had provided a place. I didn't even need it to pay. I was married. I had children. So, just the thought of moving and so forth. But it's because God had a plan. So the Lord impressed me. Why don't you talk to the conference president? So I called the conference president, a good friend of mine, and told him, look, I just graduated in first place in my class. I need to do 1 year of service. They have given me the following potential options. Where should I go? Where does the church need me? Whatever you guys need me, I'll move to that place since I can select first place. So he said, wait a minute, let me meet with my leadership team. So they met and they said, you know what, we need you in a town by the name of San Felipe. San Felipe is located, if you see the map of Mexico, you have the main part of Mexico and then you have the peninsula, where the peninsula and the main Mexico meet. On that point, it's a beautiful fisherman's town. In which there were many Canadians and Americans that used to come there to spend their winters, and they needed somebody to help minister to those foreigners. So the church that was there, some Adventists would come there. The church was just in Spanish, so they wouldn't understand much. So they needed somebody to create that into a bilingual setting. So they hired me like the lay pastor. So I became the lay pastor during the weekend, and I was the doctor during the week as I was doing my internship. And as I started ministering, I realized that the health of my members was not good. So I got the idea, why don't I start some health lectures? So between Sabbath school and the divine service, I started doing health lectures, talking about different subjects on lifestyle medicine. And then the Lord impressed me. Why I don't invite the patients I see in the week. So every patient I would see during the week, I would tell them, look, this Saturday I'm going to speak about cancer prevention, heart disease, and so forth. Man, lots of people that hadn't even heard that there was such a thing as an Adventist church started showing up, and they would stay, for the divine service. They would stay for the potluck, and, we started to connect with them. And then the pastor from the non-denominational church in town, American church, much bigger than ours, started showing up there every Saturday. And he came to me and talked to me and said, you know what? I need you to come to my church and you need to teach us these things to our members. So the pastor was the first ones to start making the transition into the, exercise and sleep and plant-based diet. Man, he was on fire for this because he was able to, stop all his medications. And he was encouraging all his church members to make, those positive changes. Funny thing, the evangelicals were more faster to embrace the changes than our congregation. And not only that, as the people started making those positive changes, this was what is considered a food desert. So the stores that had the food There were not too many healthy things. So I went and talked to the business persons there and said, look, I'm going to give you a list of things I want you to bring, because they would go to America to bring their items. And if you could bring me these things, I'll tell people you have them. He didn't really believe me. He got one or two things from the list. Man, people came and started fighting against him and said, hey, how come, doctor said that you're going to have this. How come you don't have it? Man, now he knew that this stuff was serious. So he started stocking up his store with, tofu and almond milk and brown rice and all these healthy things. Not only that, the restaurants started to change their menus. As people went to the restaurant, they're like, hey, do you only have fish and chicken? Don't you have something healthy here? So the restaurants realized that they needed to change their menus. So they started offering, all these healthy, whole food, plant-based dishes and so forth. But the biggest blessing that happened was the result that we were able to minister, and that the Lord was able to convict people, and we saw multiple baptisms as a result of using God's method, that blueprint that God has for church growth. So I invite you to use these principles, create a change in your community so that the Lord can come back soon. Thank you very much.